Hey friends, welcome to SleepLoom Stories, where we listen, we relax. I'm your host. Good. I want to thank you for supporting the show, and I really hope you're having a good, positive week so far. I'll be reading to you tonight. Our story was written by Chase. It's an enchanting tale of Andre and Laya, a prince and princess. During a cold winter season, they explore their musical gifts and bring joy to their castle. Relaxation before sleep. So before we begin, just make sure you're comfortable and settled in. Start to release the thoughts and feelings that no longer serve you in this moment. As you do this, gradually direct your awareness to your breathing. And I invite you to place a hand on your heart and perhaps one on your stomach as well. Become aware of your heartbeat beneath your palm and notice how your chest and stomach rise and then fall in time with your breath. Notice all of the sensations of your internal rhythms carrying you towards relaxation. Hey, music and a good night's sleep. Good. Imagine yourself connecting with the loving support you receive from the people close to you. This support and love is always available to you. Breathe in and notice how you feel as you think of the energy of this love flowing through you and surrounding you. Hey, music. In this moment, nothing else matters. The cares of the day can be put aside, allowing your mind to move towards rest. And when you're ready, you'll let go naturally and fall asleep. Meanwhile, you can listen along to our story for as long as you like. Simply follow the sound of my voice as we journey to a faraway kingdom. The coziest sleepy story. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom known for the beautiful voices of its prince and princess. Andre and Laya both had been blessed with angelic voices, which, when combined, produced the most stunning music. Good. But even though their singing was praised throughout the land, there was something missing. For a long, long time, there were no musical instruments. The kingdom had only ever known vocal music without strings, pipes, or percussion. One winter, however, everything changed, and it was all thanks to the prince and princess themselves. This is the story of Prince Andre and Princess Laya, and how they brought a new kind of music to their kingdom. It's a cold winter's evening. Everything is covered with snow from the branches of the trees to the towers and turrets of the massive stone castle. Princess Laya has just arrived at her home for the winter. As Laya's carriage pulls up in front of the castle, Prince Andre comes sauntering down the steps to greet her. He grins, delighted to see his best friend. She accepts his offered hand and descends from the carriage. Stepping onto the cobblestone path that leads to the castle, Laya is dressed in a gown of teal silk, embroidered with gold thread, which perfectly complements her dark hair. She is a sight to behold. Andre tells her this as they link arms and hurry into the castle, eager to get out of the cold. Laya shrugs off his compliment, as she always does, ever the humble princess. Besides, she tells him they have much more pressing things to talk about. At dinner this evening, they'll be going over their plans for this year's winter solstice. During this celebration, they typically sing together while the crowd dines and dances. Arm in arm, Andre and Laya walk into the castle. First, Laya goes to her suite on the ground floor, which has been hers since she first came to visit 8 years ago. That is how long she and Andre have been friends, and it's a friendship that has only grown over time. As Laya enters her suite, she becomes aware of just how sleepy she is. After the journey, she feels a nap coming on. Laya flops down on the 4-poster bed, and several of the overstood cushions spill onto the carpeted floor. It has been a long day of travel over dusty roads, and her legs feel laden from the time spent in the carriage. The mattress is large enough for 3 people to sleep across it without touching each other, and it is wonderfully soft and cushy, and as comfortable as she remembers, much to her delight. Laya yawns as she sprawls out on the bed, laying her head down on the soft, silky pillow. She soon falls asleep. A little while later, Laya wakes up from her nap. Hearing the gentle squeak of a door, she opens her eyes. Her attendant, Margaret, who is also a personal friend, has just entered the suite. As Margaret begins to unpack Laya's suitcases and belongings, the 2 girls chat. Margaret is excited about a new litter of the cutest puppies that were born recently. They're in the stables, she says, and Laya has to visit them. It has been a year since Laya last visited. But the 2 girls pick up where they left off as they exchanged gossip and news. in such an easy manner that it's as if they were never apart. Then, after promising to come to wake her up the following morning, Margaret finishes with her task and leaves Laya to her exploration. The castle has endless hiding places and secret tunnels. There is always something new that Laya discovers each time she visits. Her suite of rooms included. She usually goes exploring with Andre. Sometimes they get a little carried away, which results in a telling off from the king and queen. But the young prince and princess can't resist the urge to explore. They want to uncover all the secrets waiting to be unearthed here in this ancient castle. Walking through her rooms, Laya discovers that there have been a few much needed changes and additions. She now has a reading area. It even has a small alcove with a cushioned seat that juts out from the wall. The alcove is surrounded by huge glass windows, which offer a view of the garden hushed by the quiet of winter. Everything is coated by a fine layer of the whitest snow. As she continues to look around the room, Laya sees that the hidden secret door behind one of the wooden dresses is still there. It's something that only she and Andre know about. Years ago, they discovered the door while playing one of their many hide-and-seek games. And they were thrilled to realize that it led to a series of underground tunnels that connected the main rooms. The two friends used the network of tunnels to visit each other and, on occasion, to sneak out of the castle. Other than that, much is the same in her suite. The bathroom is still open and spacious, and the porcelain white bathtub is as clean and shiny as ever. Good. Along the edge that meets the wall, there's a collection of scented soap and perfume bottles. The ornate furniture is still artfully arranged around her bedroom, the same as it has always been, except that now there is a wooden bookcase with a few of her favorite titles on its shelves, including countless books on singing and music. She smiles at this thoughtful gesture from her host. There's a knock at the door, and she opens it to find Andre standing there. "It's time for dinner," he says. Laya grabs her warm coat, just in case they venture outside. After dinner and together, the two make their way towards the dining hall. It would be a much shorter walk if they chose to use the underground tunnels. but that would give away their secret. So they continue down the stone halls and through archways, passing statue after statue until they finally arrive. As soon as they enter the massive dining hall, Laya is engulfed in an embrace from Andre's parents, the king and queen. They hug her from both sides and fuss over how much Laya has grown over the past year. Then, they lead her to the long dining table in the center of the room. Banners of the royal family's crest hang above, gently waving in the draft of cold air that trickles in from somewhere. But the room is kept warm by the massive fireplace at the center. Lala and Andre sit next to each other. Ornate gold candlesticks of varying lengths run down the center of the table, each candle flickering with light. The dinner is wonderful. The dishes are as delectable, as always, as everyone enjoys the good food and conversation. The minutes fly by. Servers rush here and there. They clear the plates off the table the second that they are empty and immediately bring the next item on the menu. The winter solstice party is in a month, and once again, Andre and Laya are expected to regale the guests with their singing, the only form of music that exists at this time. Remember, as they eat, the two friends discuss their options. They could sing the usual songs, but they agree that this year they want to change things up a bit. Just as they are discussing ways in which they might spice up their winter solstice performance, the entire dinner party shares a toast. The goblets clink together, resonating throughout the dining hall. It is such a beautiful melodic sound. And as they hear it, Andre and Delilah turn towards each other, sharing a knowing glance. This sound could be the start of something. The king and queen retire early, leaving Laya and Andre to their own devices. The two begin a lively discussion on the sound made by the clinking of the glasses. Perhaps there's a way they can incorporate it into their own musical performance, and slowly a plan forms. Andre and Laya decide to look for ways to create instruments which are capable of reproducing the clinking sound. Maybe there are ways to produce other sounds too. They discuss all the musical sounds they have ever heard or accidentally produced from this or that. Eventually, they decide that they will have to do some experiments. Music, as they know it is about to change forever, and they are going to be the ones to do it. They'll usher in a new era of melody and rhythm to complement their sweet-sounding voices. Laya and Andre continue their discussion as they leave the dining hall. They're heading outside to the stables, as Andre has an idea. There are hunting bows in the stables. Perhaps the strings could be used as instruments. After all, while out on some of his hunting adventures, he's often heard the bows producing a variety of musical notes, just as they are putting on their coats. Margaret joins them. She's finished her work for the day, and she wants to come to the stables too, so she can show Yala the puppies that she mentioned earlier. The three briskly walk through the cold air and snow flurries until they reach the warm confines of the stables. The horses regard them. The horses regard them with little interest as the friends shuffle over the hay-strewn ground to reach the pen where the puppies are kept. As Laya enters, she is greeted by a chorus of yips. She crouches down to pick up one of the puppies, which is curled up on its own. It is the runt. Andre tells her, and his parents are planning on giving it away. But the moment Laya scoops the tiny furry creature up into her arms, the puppy immediately relaxes and nuzzles up against her. Laya nuzzles it right back and looks up at Andre with wide eyes. She doesn't even need to ask. Yes. He tells her the puppy is hers, while the two girls do on the puppies. Andre looks for a hunting bow in the back of the stables. Once he's retrieved one from the rack, the friends leave the stables and head back to the warmth of the castle. On the way, they come up with a name for the puppy Muse after, and Andre's love of music. Perhaps Muse will be a source of inspiration herself. After saying good night to Andra, the others head to Laya's chambers. The puppy immediately makes herself at home. Muse sniffs and explores her new surroundings, then curls up on top of the bed covers. Meanwhile, Margaret helps Laya get ready for sleep. She prepares the room, lighting the candles. Then she sits down on the bed for a while, as Laya tells her all about her newfound musical inspiration and her plans with Andre. Margaret can't help but offer a few suggestions of her own. After all, she knows how talented her two friends are when they come together to produce music. Margaret and Laya spend the rest of the evening sharing their ideas for the song. Good. They come up with a long list of items they could try using as instruments. After the clock chimes midnight, Margaret finally departs for her own room. She takes a candle with her as she leaves through the hidden door with snippets of musical notes and a stream of melody running through her head. Laya starts to drift off, and with the sound of Muse snoring softly beside her, she finally falls asleep. The next day brings snow showers that blanket the castle and countryside like a fresh layer of sparkling white paint. The world outside becomes a winter wonderland. Andre and Laya traipse through the castle using the web of underground tunnels to go from room to room. They also access the scattered maintenance buildings outside, collecting all of the items from the girls' list. Their bags are soon filled with pieces of metal cord to serve as strings, as well as wood, animal hide, and an assortment of tools. In the afternoon, when hunger begins to stir in their bellies, they return to Laya's rooms for lunch, where they're joined by Margaret. Afterwards, all three sprawl out across the huge rug in front of the fireplace, which occupies much of the bedroom. Muse lounges next to them. The friends look at all the things they've collected so far and decide on their next steps. Andre is naturally skilled at creating things. He even built his own hunting bow. So he volunteers to start assembling the instruments. He will build the items that can produce all kinds of musical sounds. And since Laya is blessed with perfect pitch, she can use her voice to help tune the instruments he creates. Margaret, they decide, can be the group's official assistant to help with anything else that needs to be done. And with that, they are off to a good start. As they talk and tinker with the items, Andre begins to create something. He attaches a piece of taut metal cord to a flexible wooden stick, so it looks a little like a hunting bow. Then, he tries plucking the cord with his fingers in a myriad of ways, and much to their delight, he has soon tightened the string, so it resonates upon being struck, making musical sounds. Upon completion, Andre places the instrument to one side. He then expertly hollows out some of the pliant yet sturdy pieces of cylindrical wood. and soon he has a line of them prepared in all different lengths. Muse, who is plopped down by Andre's feet, noses one of the pieces of hollowed-out wood. Then she suddenly takes off with it, bringing the piece of wood to the other side of the room so she can chew on it. The trio watches in amusement and then amazement. The puppy accidentally blows through the wood, causing a lovely note of music to drift through the air. The three friends all turn to look at each other, and after retrieving the piece of wood from Muse, they set to the task of experimenting with the other pieces. They are eager to reproduce the sound made by blowing through the hole. It doesn't take them long to construct a wooden pipe that whistles a tune when blown. They also create a tapered tube with several pieces of decreasing length joined together. It produces a whole range of tunes. Andre drills a couple of holes down the front of the wooden pieces to enable the production of different notes. These notes will vary when the holes are stopped by a finger or when the tube is blown through. With their combined imagination and will, creating and shaping the instruments comes to them as easily as harmonizing their voices. The next few days pass by in a blur as the three friends spend their time perfecting the design of their newly crafted instruments. They tune them with the help of Laya's immaculate voice. The U-shaped stringed instrument is modified so it has 2 arms and a crossbar. There are a total of 7 string strings running vertically across the instrument, which they call a lyre. Depending on how it is struck, the lyre creates musical sounds that vary from quiet and tender to cascading and glittering. The other instruments are the wooden pipes or flutes. The lovely sound is amplified from the flow of air across the openings. It ranges from light and airy to rich and wind-like. Margaret has now officially been added to the royal musical team, much to the surprise of the king and queen. But if the prince and princess wish for their friend to accompany them for this year's performance, then so be it. Once the 3 friends are happy with their instruments, it's time to start practicing and honing their skills. Andre selects the lyre, while Laya takes the single-piped flute. Margaret chooses the flute, composed of many pipes, all bound together. They all agree that it's too early to use the lyre, and the flutes with Andre and Laya's singing. First, they need to master using the instruments by themselves. And so every spare moment that they get, the friends meet in an underground room, which is accessed by the tunnels from Laya's bedroom. There they get to work. The girls have seemed to decorating the underground space so that it's quaint and accommodating. The stone floor is now covered with a gorgeous woven carpet of the deepest emerald green and gold, which are the official colors of the kingdom. On the floor, there are also comfortable cushions for the three of them to sit on while they tinker and play. An array of sconces hanging from the walls provide light. There is even a fireplace in this mysterious subterranean room, bringing them ample warmth, even on the coldest winter days. Muse has her own pile of warm fleece, blankets to lie on, while her humans play music through the day and often into the late hours of the night. They have never enjoyed their time at court together quite this much. The three friends skip the stately luncheons and dinners for the comfort of the secret room as they focus on their music. If life at court has taught them anything, it is the art of preparation. They must keep practicing their skills and become better acquainted with their own inventions, especially as they know that these inventions could change the way that music is played forevermore. The cold winter days pass slowly by, and while the other members of the castle hustle and bustle about preparing for the winter solstice, Andre, Lila, and Margaret perfect their art in secret. All the hours spent fine, tuning the instruments and practicing, have paid off as the trio now sound magnificent. The songs that Andre and Laya have prepared are rendered as near perfect as they can be, especially with the accompaniment of the lyre and the two flutes. And Margaret, who never before showed any musical inclination, has impressed her friends with her innate ability to play the flute. She produces such graceful and ethereal notes. And when all three instruments are played, as Andre and Laya lift their voices up to the heavens, it is pure beauty. The three friends are counting down the days until they can share their music with the kingdom. Good. As the day of the winter solstice dawn, the castle comes alive in a flurry of activity. Servants decorate the hall with all sorts of festive winter finery. Evergreens are brought inside and displayed everywhere. Their branches hang from the huge mantel of the fireplace and frame every window. The vibrant greenery creates a sense of life and renewal, and it perfectly complements the impressive array of string lights and candles that are lit all around the room, as well as setting a cozy mood. The lights are there to honor the sun. This is an important winter solstice tradition for the kingdom. The tables have been moved to the far corner of the room, so there is plenty of space for the guests and courtiers who wish to dance once the musical performance begins. And the moment is fast approaching. The festivities begin just as the sun dips below the horizon, staining the snowy landscape with tendrils of coral and orange light before it disappears. Guests mill about the hall, greeting one another in good cheer and exchanging pleasantries, while servants dart back and forth, filling up glasses. Soon all the seats are filled and dinner is brought out. Laya and Andre take their place across from the king and queen, and Margaret, who has the night off, comes to join them, sitting on Yela's other side. The food is exquisite, and it's not long before the dishes are cleared. The time for the performance has arrived. A hush falls over the crowd as the three young musicians rise from their chairs, instruments in hand. They step onto the platform that encircles the enormous throne. They take their seats, and then glancing at one another in solidarity and silent encouragement, they begin. Andre and Laya lend their voices to the celebration, thanking the gods for every blessing and summoning the warmth of the sun for the days ahead. Their harmonious voices set the tone with a timeless song that rises and falls across the room, filling the space with beauty and warmth. Then the lyre and flutes join in, establishing an underlying rhythm that tightens the melody. The three musicians give themselves over to the performance. They don't miss a single beat. They are so in sync with each other and so in tune. Every member of the audience is utterly transfixed. No one has ever heard such a wondrous, multifaceted sound before. It's like a rainbow of brilliant, poetic notes, or a dance of wind and light. The crescendo of Andre and Laya's lilting voices sources upwards, bringing all the guests to their feet. It isn't until the musicians glance up that they realize that not a single person is left seated. Everyone is dancing to the music, their music buoyed by the reception. Andre, Laya, and Margaret all grin at one another and continue weaving the tapestry of their melodic masterpiece into the air. Music will never be the same